Welcome to Inside SCL Racing. I'm your host, Carlin Hicks. We are going to be doing a review of the action in Week 8 of SCL Season 24, the Watkins Glen Super Weekend, as all three major series were making their stop there. It was a fantastic week of action. We're going to give you a review of all those races, a quick update on what that does for the championship points, and glad to have you join us here on the SCL Racing Network. We'll get right to it with the review of Friday night's SCL IndyCar Series event, the Watkins Glen Indy Grand Prix. Well, with the IndyCar Series rolling into Watkins Glen for the third time for the Watkins Glen Indy Grand Prix, the first 7 rounds of the championship, seeing once again a separation with the JME cars, as Carlin Hicks and Rita St. James are on top of the point standings. But as we headed into Watkins Glen, no one really knew what to expect. Rain in Season 22 saw Carlin Hicks take the very first event. A season ago, Tiernissel was the victor on a dry track, and we would have quite an interesting one at Watkins Glen. You are looking at the final results as D.W. McFreak, winner a week ago at the Texas 500, wins his second consecutive race, second win of the season as well, and his 5th career IndyCar Series win for the Season 21 Indianapolis 500 champion. He has climbed up to a steady 3rd in the points and closing. He was able to hold off Rita St. James, last season's series champion, in 2nd, with the points leader Carlin Hicks there on the Sunday Cup League account, coming home a solid 3rd. Rookie Nukin, the first Norwegian driver in SCL history, would run a fantastic race, move up from the back of the field, and finish 4th, with a fantastic season from 4th place runner, a Cat Guy of TOW Racing, coming in a solid 5th. However, the story of this race was, of course, rain throughout the first half. On a wet track, we saw a number of drivers: Carlin Hicks, Warren Kyle Keith, D.W. McFreak, Rita St. James would all take the lead at various points. The race would use up its cautions, but not until very, very late in the event. A relatively clean event. As the track started to dry halfway through, we saw pit strategy come into it, and Rita and Carlin would cycle towards the front. And on the final set of restarts, with about 20 laps to go, or not the final set, but on a coming off of a pit cycle, it was Daz from Team Danamore who was in the lead, with Carlin and Rita fast on his tail. And Daz, looking for his first career win in the series now in his 3rd season, had the lead and held off for quite a while. A final caution with 7 laps to go saw Carlin and Daz make slight contact in the carousel as they were running the short circuit with no bus stops, just like the Winston Cup series. And the result would be a slight touch that allowed D.W. McFreak to shoot through. Rita would take 2nd, Carlin would finish 3rd, as we said, Nukin 4th, Cat Guy 5th. Daz was the hard luck driver, finishing 6th in the event. As you see the rest of the top 10, Warren Kyle Keith, who had a very solid early lead in the race, would suffer some tire woes, I believe, late in the race, and would fall all the way to 9th. Looking to make a possible full-time IndyCar Series drive next season, and so it's quite possible that we're just seeing him doing some reconnaissance with his cars. But a fantastic show and in the IndyCar Series for this event. And next week, those cars will be heading over to England along with the Camel GT Series cars, as they will be at Brands Hatch on Friday night, November the 16th, for the Brands Hatch Trophy race. Carlin Hicks needs a finish of 3rd or better in that race to clinch the SCL Season 24 IndyCar Series Championship. Well, the SCL Watkins Glen Super Weekend would continue on Saturday night, as the SCL Camel GT Series would roll into Watkins Glen for the first running of the Paul Revere's Midnight Ride, a nighttime race on the Watkins Glen Grand Prix circuit for the 3 classes of SCL's Premier Sports Car Series. It was a very close and exciting race, particularly up in the P2 class, as Baron von Stosch would narrowly hold off Carlin Hicks and Sig Rezonico, as 3 of the 5 class starters would finish. to take the overall and class win. With that victory, I believe his 4th of the season, Baron von Stosch was able to clinch the SCL Season 24 Camel GT Series LMP2 Championship. With the LMP2 class going out, the former Le Mans winner claimed a driving title to add to his trophy case. In the GTE class, it was Shane O'Kano outpacing Rita St. James and points leader the Zebra. For Shano, it was his 4th win of the season, and he was able to take the points lead, holding a 1-point advantage over the defending class champion, the Zebra, from Benson Speed Equipment in the overall season championship. And in the GT3 class, the already clinched class champion O'Brien was not there, and so Hossack from Apex Motorsport was able to take another victory. I believe his 3rd of the season might be. OGR Cat Guy managing to finish 2nd for TOW Racing. Muttley for Wacky Racers 3rd, and XTR retired early in his SCL debut. This also would have some effect on the point standings for the team championship, as Apex Motorsport was able to slightly expand their lead over JME Motorsports in the final season championship. They will also be heading over to England to run the British GT Challenge on the Brands Hatch circuit Saturday night, November 17th. Should be a fantastic show. On Sunday, the SCL Winston Cup Series would head on to the Watkins Glen short course for the 3rd running of the Bud at the Glen, a very tight championship race among the top 4 drivers heading down to the final 3 races made this a spectacular event, and ultimately it would be Twindy coming out with the victory from TOW Racing and closing the gap a bit on Hossack in the points championship. He would narrowly edge out Stay Down Killin, the independent driver and former Daytona 500 winner, who would come in 2nd. Defending Winston Cup champion Baron von Stosch would come in 3rd for Apex Motorsport, giving them a very solid position in the final team championship. O'Brien, 79, from JME Motorsports, would make a spot start in the series and finish a solid 4th place, while championship leader Hossack would finish 5th. Solid runs from Rosta, Rita, Daz, Cat Guy, and rookie Rockabilly Outlaw would round out the top 10, as that series heads next week to Indianapolis for one of the SCL's biggest events, the 14th running of the SCL Brickyard 400. Carlin Hicks, the defending race winner, will be looking to duplicate, but up near the top of the standings, Hossack, Twindy, and Barron will still be looking to close the gap towards that final season championship. All right, we'll be heading next week, as we said, the IndyCar Series on Friday night. We'll be taking on the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit in a revival of an old SCL event, the Brands Hatch Trophy Race. Carlin Hicks will look to clinch the the IndyCar Series championship there. Saturday night, the SCL Camel GT Series will be heading to Brands Hatch as well, as they will be running the British GT Challenge on the Grand Prix circuit. And of course, on Sunday, the Winston Cup Series at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to run the annual showdown, the Brickyard 400. This will be the 14th running of the event. We're glad to have everybody, all the drivers, coming out to that one. So we will catch up with you later on this weekend, as we will have a Week 9 preview with the updated point standings to go over. And as we said, preview of all this weekend's races. For the SCL Racing Network, this is Carlin Hicks. Thanks for watching Inside SCL Racing.